Cadillac are in advanced talks for their 2026 lineup, and it seems like the drivers are already chosen by the American team. Even though the initial plan was to hire an American driver, it now seems like Colton Herta is out of the picture, as two drivers with F1 experience are going to suit up for the team that will provide their own engines from 2029 onwards. But is this move going to disappoint the American audience, and more importantly, how will it reflect on the financial situation of Cadillac? The news of an 11th team entering Formula 1 has been perceived in a very welcoming manner overall, but now it seems like the serious talks have taken place. Cadillac is exploring their options and they have some very interesting prospects on their table. But even though their promise was to sign a driver from the USA, it now seems like this narrative has shifted a bit. The two candidates who are leading the charge, Sergio Perez and Guanu, are showing the true nature of Cadillac's intentions. Although we thought that Sergio Perez was a very poor performing driver in the last couple of seasons because of his struggles in Red Bull, the spell of Lawson and the statements of Yuki have gone on to show that indeed the problem was in the car. This gave Cadillac a lot to think about because they are effectively going to hire a driver who has a lot of experience from different eras, is a proven race winner and can bring a lot to the table from what he learned at Red Bull. This would be the most important signing for Cadillac because the team's director, Mario Andretti, said that he wants at least one experienced driver who is going to lead them across the unknown. Apart from Perez, solid candidates could be found in Bottas, a 10-time race winner, as well as Ricciardo, but the Aussie did deny any offer that came his way, so it's highly unlikely that we'll see him racing again anytime soon. But for the second seat, it was believed that Cadillac was going to go with Colton Herta. After all, this was the pillar of their team, and it was one of the strongest arguments when it comes to their entrance. The goal was to make an all-American team and represent the continent in a proper fashion. We do, of course, know that Perez is also American because he's from Mexico, a country that is located on the North American continent. So maybe Cadillac is playing chess while the others are playing checkers. The value of Perez is something that not even Verstappen or any other driver can match on this territory. His popularity. He is probably one of the main reasons why the Mexico GP still exists, as there were threats that the organisers were going to fall back from the sport due to the drop-off of viewership. On the other hand, Perez is very popular in circuits like Miami and Austin, so it would be more or less a win-win situation for both sides. Perez comes with great financial backing, which is no secret at all. Apart from his experience, he is known to have lucrative sponsors behind his back, ones that are ready to invest up to $30 million per year in the team that's going to sign him. This has been confirmed by the Telmex company's director, one of the many companies that are under the jurisdiction of Carlos Slim, the man who directly funded Perez's career. And again, this is not what surprises us the most. What we are baffled about is the fact that Cadillac is considering Joe as the second driver and not Colton Herta. Yes, Joe does have F1 experience, and that beats every argument when you're yet to drive a full F1 race like the American driver. But what is also worth noting is that Joe comes with his own sponsors as well. We do know for a fact that he was heavily funded when he entered Formula 1 with Alfa Romeo, but his initial results have gone on to show that he is indeed a solid driver who needs a proper opportunity to show his skill set. Sauber was a poor spell for both him and Bottas, and although Joe was the last driver on the grid for the majority of the races and vastly outperformed by Valtteri, the fact that he was signed by Ferrari as their reserve driver goes to show that they still have trust in him. Yes, he was part of their academy and maybe they wanted to keep him around just in case, but you don't get to sign a reserve driver if you've lost full trust in him. And what we must add here is the knowledge of Joe. Throughout his F1 career, he's driven for a team that was powered by a Ferrari engine. The new regulations are going to be all about the engine and the battery power, so Cadillac might have a bit of an advantage compared to the rest of the back markers and the midfield because they'll be using these components from Ferrari. One Pablo Montoya has gone on to talk about the plans of Cadillac's lineup, as he added, "I think Sergio Perez will be a great fit for Cadillac, and I bet you money the next guy might be Zhou Guanyu. They would be a perfect fit. Guanyu is the Ferrari reserve, so he'll be driving building and developing and working. He'll know everything about Ferrari, and they are going with a Ferrari engine. So if you look at it from that point of view, it would make sense. And what we need to add here is that even though Herta was the hottest prospect for Cadillac and everyone believes this connection was an automatic lock-in, that didn't seem to be the case at all. The young American driver who is currently competing in the IndyCar 500 has gone on to say that just because he is American and Andretti is entering F1, it doesn't mean he is leaving the competition he currently loves. Elaborating on his future and the plans of joining Formula One in the foreseeable future, Herta said, "It's not an easy decision to just be like, all right, see you guys forever. I'd be giving up an opportunity to maybe never work with these people again. If I have an F1 offer, I'd have to really have a serious thought. I've had that carrot dangling in front of me for the past half decade, so it's been a long time of it not happening. It's just kind of a numb thing now, and I don't even think about it." This doesn't bode well for the American team's future to have a driver of their own, but nevertheless, the situation is starting to get a bit more serious with the drivers who are now in heated talks with Cadillac. Andretti understood that he and Cadillac cannot forcefully put a driver in that seat, so if Herta doesn't really have any thoughts on racing in Formula One, there are experienced competitors who would kill to be in one of those two seats. This has great importance for Cadillac from the financial side as well. The team will receive a serious financial injection in their engine development if they promise either one of these two drivers that they are going to keep them beyond 2029. This is the first year that Cadillac is going to race with their own engine, manufactured under the brand of General Motors, and it's by far something that the entire Formula One world is looking forward to seeing how it's going to unfold. Montoya, on the other hand, is also skeptical when it comes to Herta driving for Cadillac, and when talking about the change that the American needs to make from IndyCar to Formula One, the former Formula One driver said, "People say Cadillac should get an American. I think it would be crazy if Colton Herta decided to come to Formula One. I don't think it would be as easy as he thinks. For speed, I think Herta has enough speed and will be good enough speed-wise to do it, but understanding going from IndyCar to Formula One is such a different change. The shock alone of moving to Europe and a different culture would be so big that I think it would screw with his head. If he did do it, the chances of surviving and prospering in it would be very slim." So with all this in mind, the situation is now more than clear. The drivers who are set to be the hottest prospects in the following period are Perez and Zhou. Both of them have their own unique qualities, but if we are being brutally honest, the financial aspect behind these potential signings is just too much to ignore. Of course, there is a lot to be discussed regarding this question because we are yet to see what Bottas' stance would be when it comes to returning to Formula One as a full-time driver, but all in all, the show is slowly but surely moving towards Perez and Zhou. Do you think that Cadillac would be a good contender with these two drivers? And more importantly, who do you think has a bigger potential to drive for them if Cadillac expands their view in the Drivers' Championship? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, have a look at the video that's appearing on your screen right now.